I choose to live an extremely frugal life. I consume tap water rather than juice for 95% of my meals. I track every dollar, I keep every receipt, and even my umbrella is flavorless. I've gone literal years without purchasing anything that wasn't meant to be instantly consumed. And from the outside looking in, it's easy to view my attitude toward money as simply being a money hoarding cheap ass. But I think there's two really important behaviors that separate frugality and being a cheap ass. And it really shows as we mature with money. And I'll get back to those two in just a second. But first, I want to tell you all a little bit about why I'm frugal to begin with. Being frugal and saving a lot gives me the ability to live a financially unburdened life. I can move whenever I want for the most part because I don't have a bunch of overhead expenses and loans. I can quit my job at any point in time that I feel unfulfilled because I've prioritized saving rather than accumulating. And I can feel financially stable and secure very easily because I live below my means as much as I can. My journey into frugality began because I had a really bad relationship with money that I was unaware of. I had the type of relationship to money that some people have to food, where once I had some of it, I had to consume it. And this usually occurred at the very first opportunity for me to do so. When payday came around, the first thing I would do is go out and buy something to eat when I really didn't need to. And a lot of people still have that relationship with money to today. Experiencing the peace that living a financially unburdened life has allowed me to has shifted my relationship with money now to one where simply money is a tool for me to facilitate feelings of peace, security, and abundance. I save in very selective ways, some of which I think you'll find a bit strange, but this is where I'll draw the first of two key distinctions between frugality and cheapness, or at least how I convince myself that I'm not being a cheap ass. I try to use money to nurture my quality of life as much as possible. And to me, the quality of your life is determined by how you live on a daily basis. So I try my best to spend as much as I can within my budget on things that affect my life on a day-to-day basis consistently, or things that will have long-term, long-lasting effects. Like healthy foods, my apartment interior since I have to live there every day, my friendships, and this isn't something I think cheap people are actually doing. I think they're just looking for the best possible deal every time. When I'm grocery shopping, I'll always make compromises so I can buy the highest quality food I can and cut back with less impactful things. I eat fresh vegetables as often as possible, but that comes at the expense of the types of drinks that I'll buy. I'll usually drink lemon tea because it's $1 cheaper than juice, and get the generic hand soap so I can spend more on the highest quality toothpaste since I want to keep my teeth for as long as possible. Now, this might not seem like much, but it allows me to stay financially flexible as the price of things keep going up. Because there is a trap that a lot of us find ourselves in when it comes to shopping and purchasing items. There are companies that are spending millions of dollars on marketing to put products in front of us. So we feel a sense of familiarity to these products, then we purchase these products at a higher cost, which then allows these companies to continue to spend millions of dollars in marketing to put these products in front of us to build familiarity, and you see how the cycle goes. And a lot of people end up finding themselves purchasing items at a higher cost that actually give no functional increase in value. And I find that having the financial flexibility of choosing what it is I'm going to spend a bit more money on rather than what I'm comfortable with is actually the best way for me to maintain my mindset of value first. Value first meaning value to me and the quality of my life first, not price. I also try to walk as much as possible to locations rather than take public transportation, since I no longer have a car. Once I have the time, I'll walk as long as an hour, and during that time, I can listen to a podcast, audiobook, or call a friend to get more out of that time if I want to. This is a bit of a weird one, or at least I think it is. I keep all of my receipts to manually enter into my budget so I can make notes about when and where I spend the most amount of money, so that I'll be able to avoid that location or at least spend less time there or go at different times of the day so that I won't spend as much money. The convenience store Family Mart is near to my house, and I usually stop and get a snack after work. And it's most pronounced between 5 and 11 p.m. So I made a rule for myself that anytime between 5 and 11 p.m. that I have to get something at the convenience store, I'm going to make the 15-minute walk to the 7-Eleven that's so far away that it's a reminder in itself for me whenever I start the walk that I really am not trying to spend money on snacks and things that I don't need or want. And this has really served me well. I also try to use my lamps at night rather than my ceiling light because it uses less wattage combined than the overhead ceiling light, and it also creates a mood where I can get prepared for bedtime. What I spend wildly on. This is where I see the biggest difference between frugality and cheapness, because I spend a lot of money on things that frugal people would consider frivolous for the most part, and cheap people would scream if they were to hear that I did these things. For example, I hate traveling. I hate being at the back of an aircraft. So anytime I need to take a flight somewhere, I'll always pay to get the seat as close as possible to the front of the aircraft, even on low budget flights. To me, the frustration of traveling, being stuck in a middle row, unable to stretch my legs even a little, or being stuck next to the toilet at the back and having to wait to be the last to the plane and ending up waiting an extra 30 minutes to an hour to get through immigration because other flights came together and now all of those people just got off together and they all got off ahead of me, just isn't worth the squeeze of saving $30 to $50 for me. I'd rather pay and make the overall travel experience a lot better for myself. I also spend a lot on convenience. For example, I hate sitting on buses or trains for more than 2 hours. And here in Japan, there is this thing called the Shinkansen or the bullet train. And anytime I have to take a trip that goes beyond that 2-hour mark, I make sure to find myself on that bullet train so I can have a more comfortable, luxurious experience, which will make arriving and the entire day itself just so much better for me. I also always wash my clothing at the coin laundry because I like the convenience of having my clothes feeling warm after being dried, and me not needing to wash it then take it wet there to get that feeling since I don't have a dryer. Also, the feeling of having inside my home feel exactly the way I want it to as well, a safe, calming space for me to be present in, is also something I'd spend abundantly on within reason, of course, since I'm not a big baller yet. Because without fail, I'm here every day. And while I am selective, I'll still do my absolute best to get items that would make me feel my best while I'm at home. Another is when I go out with friends. I want to always be able to purchase at least a round of drinks or pay a little bit extra on the dinner bill tab so that I can let people know how much I really appreciate their time and their friendship. Living frugally allows me to spend more money to enhance my quality of life because I cut back ruthlessly on things that I don't care about. I learned this from a guy called Ramit Sethi, who did a talk at Google that I listened to a couple of years ago. And I really recommend you guys check it out. I'll link it down below along with a link to sign up for my newsletter where you can get both that link as well as the key takeaway points from this video if you want to keep stuff at the top of your mind. He talks about something called money dials, where we spend abundantly on the things that we really care about and cut back completely on things that we don't care about whatsoever, and that really resonated with me. Like, I never really cared about eating out unless I was already in another country traveling, so I'm trying something new for the first time. But I used to feel really guilty to tell my friends no, I don't want to go out to eat when everyone is going out to try some new local food or something like that. And this really just gave me permission to happily say no, because I know that how by me saying no to that, I'm actually saying yes to me spending on my bullet train tickets, or me saying yes to spending on more convenience to make my life better, or buying a round of drinks for my friends at a later time. So this method of spending that Ramit teaches, I really recommend. I'm not sponsored by him or anything like that whatsoever. I'm really grateful for what I learned from his videos, and I highly recommend you guys check it out as well if you want to get some value on how to spend money. And of course, smash like for your boy down below, and you can click here for another one of my videos. Thanks for watching.